Tensions flared in Pune's Dond Taluka. Visuals on your screens. All of this following an allegedly objectionable social media post by a local youth. And soon after that post went viral. Local activists reached the youth's home. This is in Sahakar Nagar, and vandalized the entire property. The post triggered public outrage, forcing the closure of the weekly market. A mob took to the streets and set several two-wheelers on fire. Timely intervention by the police prevented the situation from escalating further. Now, according to authorities on the ground, the youth behind the post has been identified as a resident of Sahakar Nagar. This is in Yavat, and he has been taken into custody by the local police. However, the area remains tense, and additional security forces have been deployed to maintain order. The incident has added fuel to the fire in the region that's already been on edge. But now the incident has added fuel to the fire in that region that's already on edge. And just days ago, on the 26th of July, a statue of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was allegedly desecrated at the Neelkantheshwar temple in Yavat, the same area. And in response to that incident, BJP MLA Gopi Chand Padalkar held a meeting with the party workers and led a protest march just yesterday. Now, the day after the march, fresh tensions have come to light from the same area. Again, we've got a reaction. Listen in.
12 साढ़े 12 के दरमियान ऐसा पुलिस के पास एक इंफॉर्मेशन आई और कि कुछ एक तरुण है, यंग है कोई लड़का, उसने अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन में व्हाट्सएप और फेसबुक पे एक स्टेटस रखा है जो आक्षेपजनक ऑब्जेक्शनेबल स्टेटस है। तो उस कंप्लेंट पे उस लड़के को पुलिस स्टेशन में लाया गया। पुलिस स्टेशन में लाने के बाद उस पर कार्रवाई करनी शुरू की गई। गांव के कुछ लोग भी वहां पे आए। गांव के जो प्रतिनिधि लोग हैं उनके साथ हमारी टीम जो है पुलिस स्टेशन की, उसने मीटिंग भी शुरू की कि गांव में आप किसी भी प्रकार का जो कायदा व व्यवस्था का जो है माहौल उसको शांत बनाए रखें। ऐसे उनके साथ मीटिंग चल रही थी। लेकिन तब तक ये जो मैसेज था सोशल मीडिया में वो वायरल हो चुका था और गांव में पहले से ही एक थोड़ा तनावपूर्ण कुछ एक हफ्ता पहले कोई घटना हुई थी जिसकी वजह से थोड़ा तनाव बढ़ा हुआ था। तो ये मोशन हाइटन होने की वजह से गांव के लोग रास्ते पे आए और उसमें से कुछ यंगस्टर्स ने कुछ जगह पे जाके कुछ स्ट्रक्चर को नुकसान पहुंचाने की कोशिश की।
और then my colleague योगेश बोरसे joins us on the broadcast here. योगेश, सबसे पहले तो न्यूज़ 9 के माध्यम से सभी दर्शकों को ये बता दिया जाए कि शांति बनाए रखने की गौहर पुलिस की तरफ से आ रही है, उसको बरकरार रखा जाए। लेकिन साथ ही साथ दर्शकों को ये भी बता दें कि कारण क्या था, आपत्तिजनक पोस्ट में आखिर वो था क्या जिसकी वजह से ये दो गुट आपस में लड़ बैठे।
जी देखिए, इस पूरे मामले को शुरुआत जो हुई वो छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज के जो पुतले की विटंबना की गई थी, तोड़फोड़ की गई थी, उसके बाद ये पूरा मामला शुरू हुआ था। कल ही वहाँ पे हिंदू समाज का एक मोर्चा भी हुआ जिसका नेतृत्व बीजेपी के एमएलए गोपी चंद पडलकर और एनसीपी के एमएलए संग्राम जगताप, इन दोनों ने किया था। उसके बाद आज सुबह एक लड़के ने जो फेसबुक पोस्ट सोशल मीडिया पे डाली थी, उसके बाद और ये तनाव बढ़ गया है। जिसके बाद मतलब ये आप जैसे देख सकते कि दो गुटों में तोड़फोड़ और पत्थरबाजी शुरू हो चुकी है। वहां के यवत पुलिस स्टेशन में उस लड़की को लाया गया था, उसको हिरासत में भी पुणे पुलिस ने लिया था। लेकिन जो गांव की मीटिंग हुई थी उसके बाद और लोग वहां पे एग्रेसिव हो गए और उन्होंने ये पत्थरबाजी शुरू कर दी। कुछ गाड़ियों को जलाया गया है, वहाँ पे जालपुल हो गई है और कुछ पत्थरबाजी भी वहाँ पे हुई। आप देख सकते हैं वो जो व्यक्ति है संदीप सिंह गिल, वो अभी स्पॉट पर पहुंच चुके हैं और ज्यादा संख्या में पुलिस को भी वहाँ पे बुलाया गया है और शांति बनाए रखने की कोशिश पुणे पुलिस की तरफ से की गई है। लेकिन अब पुणे पुलिस की तरफ से जो कहा जा रहा है कि सिचुएशन अंडर कंट्रोल है और वहाँ के जो लोकल एमएलए है, बीजेपी के एमएलए है राहुल, उन्होंने भी लोगों को शांति बनाए रखने की अपील की है। बट ये जो जो मामला है वो काफी दिनों से वहाँ पे सुलझ रहा था और उसका ये कारण है कि जिस प्रकार से आज फेसबुक पोस्ट है और इस पूरे मामले को लेकर 2 लोगों को हिरासत में भी लिया गया है। लेकिन अब सिचुएशन कंट्रोल में पुणे पुलिस ने लाई है और आज शाम तक और कुछ लोगों को हिरासत में लिया जा सकता है। जी, कभी
हमारे साथ प्लीज बने रहिए. Let's again go back to some of those visuals before we go again asking the questions to Yogesh, our colleague who's getting us details from the ground. Take a look at some of these visuals. The angry crowd and the mob, two communities that sort of clashed against each other, and the police had to resort to lathi charge and dispersing the angry crowd.
ये के पुढे नंबर प्लेटच पडली फोटो काढून. ये के पुढे ये के पुढे ये के पुढे
Right, with me on the broadcast is also Shubham Pandey joining us live, tracking developments on the ground. Shubham, राजनीतिक फॉलआउट के बारे में तो बात करेंगे ही, लेकिन ये जितनी भी तस्वीरें हम अपने टीवी पर इस समय देख सकते हैं, पुलिस कर्मियों की अगर बात की जाए, पुलिस पर्सनल बहुत कम दिखाई दे रहे हैं. 25-30 एंग्री प्रोटेस्टर्स के बीच में चुनिंदा 1-2 पुलिसकर्मी. क्या पुलिस डिप्लॉयमेंट बढ़ा दी गई है यावत में?
बिल्कुल, देखिए पुणे जिले के दौंड तालुका में यवत गांव में ये बवाल अब से कुछ देर पहले हुआ था. सुबह 10 बजे से शुरू हुआ था, तकरीबन 3 घंटे चली थी. इस वक्त पुलिस की जो एक्स्ट्रा फोर्सेस है वहां पर डिप्लॉय कर दी गई है. पूरे इलाके में इस वक्त शांतिपूर्ण तनाव का माहौल जो है वो बना हुआ है और पुलिस जो है उन आरोपियों की खंगालने की तलाश कर रही है जिन्होंने मोटरसाइकिल, जिन्होंने दुकानें जलाई हैं, उनकी भी तलाश कर रही है. और अब अगले कुछ घंटे तक इसी तरह की स्थिति वहाँ पर बनी. देखिए, सोशल मीडिया पर एक पोस्ट करने को लेकर ये बवाल हुआ, जिसके बाद 2 गुटों में आपस में झड़प गए और तकरीबन 3 घंटे तक ये पूरा मामला सामने आया. और अब खबर यानी सुबह 10 बजे से ये विवाद जो है वो शुरू हुआ था, लेकिन अब जाके ये पता चल रहा है कि वहाँ पर इस तरह की कुछ तस्वीरें हुई. लेकिन फिलहाल अब सिचुएशन अंडर कंट्रोल में है. जो जानकारी हमें अब तक मिली है कि 3 मोटरसाइकिल जो है उसमें आग फूंक दी गई थी, वो धू कर पूरी तरीके से जल चुकी है. इसके अलावा कई जो गाड़ियाँ बगल में खड़ी रहती हैं, रोड के किनारे पार्किंग लोग करते हैं, उसमें भी आग लगा दी गई है. कई बेकरी में भी आग लगा दी गई है. इस वक्त जानकारी सामने आ रही है. लेकिन फिलहाल जो तमाम वहाँ पर लोग हैं, उस वक्त स्थानीय जो कार्यकर्ता थे वो वहाँ पर पहुँचे थे और बातचीत हो रही थी, विवाद हो रही थी. लेकिन ये बातचीत, जो विवाद है वो गुस्से में तब्दील हो जाता है और इस तरह से हिंसा का रूप ले लेता है. लेकिन फिलहाल देखिए, अब सिचुएशन जो है वो कंट्रोल में है. पुणे पुलिस के कंट्रोल में इस वक्त आ चुकी है. मौके पर एसपी हों या तमाम जो अन्य बड़े आला ऑफिसर हों, अधिकारी हों, वो इस वक्त वहाँ पर पहुँच चुके हैं. सिचुएशन इस वक्त उस गाँव में, यवत इलाके में, यवत गाँव जो है वहाँ पर इस वक्त कंट्रोल बताई जा रही है.
शुभम, उसी के साथ साथ अगर राजनीति की बात की जाए, एक ही सप्ताह में दूसरा इस तरीके का इंसिडेंट सामने आया है। बीजेपी ने हाल ही में रैली भी निकाली थी, तो इसके पॉलिटिकल ऑप्टिक्स भी मैटर करते हैं। राजनीति इसके आसपास किस तरह से तब्दील होती हुई नजर आ रही है?
बिल्कुल, देखिए फिलहाल इस पर तब सियासी जो बयानबाजियां हैं वो अभी तक शुरू नहीं हुई है, लेकिन इस कुछ दिन पहले यहाँ पर बीजेपी ने भी इस तरह से, और ये इलाका जो दौंड जिला है यहाँ पर इस तरह की घटनाएं इससे पहले भी हो चुकी हैं। इस तरह का ये तालुका है बहुत सुर्खियों में रहता है, इस तरह की घटनाएं वहाँ पर पहले भी हुई है। तो ऐसे में अब देखना होगा कि इस घटना में क्या एंगल सामने आता है। लेकिन फिलहाल दो गुटों में जो ये हुई है, कुछ कार्यकर्ता वहाँ पर पहुँचे थे, वाद विवाद बढ़ जाती है और मामला हिंसा का रूप ले लेता है। लेकिन फिलहाल सिचुएशन राहत की बात है कि कंट्रोल में है, और अब देखना होगा कि पुलिस इसमें कितने लोगों के ऊपर कार्रवाई करती है। सीसीटीवी या पुलिस जो है मुखाबिते जिन पुलिसकर्मियों के सामने ये तमाम चीज़ें हुई, उन्हीं के आई विटनेस के आधार पर जो है इनके ऊपर FIR दर्ज की जाती है, फिर उन्हें हिरासत में लिया जाता है। तो अब इस वक्त जो बाजार था, दुकानें थे, पूरी तरीके से बंद करा दिया गया है और पूरे इलाके में चप्पे चप्पे पर नज़र रखी जा रही है कि ताकि कोई इस प्रकार की घटना ना घट सके, और सोशल मीडिया पर जो है वो चेक किया जाए कि कोई ऐसी पोस्ट न ले जिससे हिंसा भड़क जाए।
की बात की जाए, मुख्यमंत्री की बात की जाए, या महाराष्ट्र के गृह मंत्री की बात की जाए, तो उस तरफ से कोई भी बयान अभी तक नहीं जारी किया गया है।
देखिए, जो पूना शहर है ये खास तौर पर अजीत पवार का गढ़ माना जाता है। वहाँ पर अभी तक किसी का बयान सामने नहीं आया है, और ना सिर्फ देवेंद्र फडणवीस जो सूबे के मुख्यमंत्री हैं और होम मिनिस्टर भी है, उनका भी बयान अब तक सामने नहीं आया है। अब देखना होगा कि इस मामले में पूरी रिपोर्ट वहाँ के SP से बात करेंगे, उसके बाद ही कुछ बयानबाजी जो है या कुछ बयान जो है वो करेंगे। थोड़ी देर बाद ही शायद बयान जो है सबके सामने आ जाएगा कि आखिर मुख्यमंत्री के पास आखिर इसकी रिपोर्ट क्या आई है।
Pandey bringing us the latest details. We're again talking about Pune, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Dond area. We're talking about the Yavat village in particular. This is in Pune. It's supposed to be the home turf of Ajit Pawar, but no political statements that have come out so far, not from the Chief Minister or the Home Minister at this point in time. But the police personnel and the deployment of police has certainly been increased in the Dond Zilla. This is Yavat village, again telling you two communities that clashed together over an objectionable social media post. And the person who's made that post, the youth that made that post that went viral, was taken into custody. Panchayat level meetings have also taken place, and what's more is that the police personnel and the deployment of tear gas shells, having to resort to the use of lathi charge to disperse the angry crowd. That's the situation at this point in time, and we're again telling you here, all the viewers here at News 9, peace must be maintained. That's the message that the police wants to send out, the local authorities and the administration wants to set out. Let peace prevail in the area. Do not fall for misinformation and do not spread misinformation. Emanating any kind of social media post on this particular matter is going to draw the ire of the local authorities. That's what we're picking up right now. There was some sort of violence when the two communities clashed amongst each other, but now situation seems to be under control, is what the police sources that we're picking up from.
12 साढ़े 12 के दरमियान ऐसा पुलिस के पास एक इन्फॉर्मेशन आई, और कि कुछ एक तरुण है, यंग है कोई लड़का, उसने अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन में व्हाट्सएप और फेसबुक पे एक स्टेटस रखा है जो आक्षेपजनक ऑब्जेक्शनेबल स्टेटस है। तो उस कंप्लेंट पे उस लड़के को पुलिस स्टेशन में लाया गया। पुलिस स्टेशन में लाने के बाद उस पर कार्रवाई करनी शुरू की गई। गांव के कुछ लोग भी वहाँ पे आए। गांव के जो प्रतिनिधि लोग हैं उनके साथ हमारी टीम जो है पुलिस स्टेशन की, उसने मीटिंग भी शुरू की कि गांव में आप किसी भी प्रकार का जो कायदा व व्यवस्था जो है माहौल उसको शांत बनाए रखें, ऐसे उनका मीटिंग चल रही थी। लेकिन तब तक ये जो मैसेज था सोशल मीडिया में वो वायरल हो चुका था और गांव में पहले से ही एक थोड़ा तनावपूर्ण एक हफ्ता पहले कोई घटना हुई थी जिसकी वजह से थोड़ा तनाव बढ़ा हुआ था। तो ये मोशन हाइटन होने की वजह से गांव के लोग रास्ते पे आए और उसमें से कुछ यंगस्टर्स ने कुछ जगह पे जाके कुछ स्ट्रक्चर को नुकसान पहुंचाने की कोशिश की।
Seems to be under control. The police are confident with the latest deployment of police personnel in the Yavat village. Meetings have been conducted with the village headmen to maintain peace on the ground. But the situation is certainly tense. Deployment continues to be there on the ground, and the local authorities monitoring the situation very, very closely. Take a look at this, big developments that we're tracking for you. This is relief for Nimisha Priya in this death sentence case for the Kerala nurse. The Ministry of External Affairs has confirmed that the Government of India has been extending all possible assistance to the Kerala nurse, and as a result of its efforts, authorities in Yemen have postponed carrying out her sentence. Officials have also said that the government continues to closely monitor the situation, extend any kind of consular assistance to the Kerala nurse and her family, and remain in touch with some friendly countries over the matter. The Ministry of External Affairs has also strongly refuted reports that claimed that Nimisha Priya's death sentence had been revoked or that an agreement has been reached for her release vis-a-vis the blood money. Not to pay heed to any of those reports at this point in time, those reports not confirmed. But what is confirmed and now coming from the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal is the fact that yes, the execution has been postponed, and that is due to hectic parleys between the Indian and the Yemeni authorities, and of course the consular services that have been extended and all sort of assistance that has been extended to Nimisha Priya's family. Of course, this matter is also being discussed with like-minded countries in the region. There is the issue of the blood money, and of course the Grand Mufti Abu Bakr Musliar and his entire delegation also making things happen. But at this point in time, what is confirmed is the fact that this has been postponed. Revocation is something that has not been confirmed. Those reports misleading, says the Ministry of External Affairs. My colleague and senior executive editor Aditya Rajkol on the phone line with us. Aditya, how does one look at these developments? Certainly big relief for Nimisha Priya's family now that the death sentence has been postponed, but no news on the revocation of the death sentence and that front.
That's right, Kabir. We at News 9 from the very beginning were reporting that some individuals claiming that the death sentence has been stopped or withdrawn is completely wrong, because we've been continuously tracking this and speaking to our sources both in the Government of India and sources with Nimisha's family and of course in Yemen as well. So the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal now making it amply clear that there are concerted efforts that have been on from the Indian government, and as a result of that, the authorities in Yemen have postponed the carrying out of the death sentence as of now. But let's remember, this is only postponement and not ending of the death sentence. Nothing has been withdrawn as yet. So the Indian government is closely following the matter and trying to render all possible assistance to the family, and trying to also get in touch with other governments in the region to impress upon the government in Yemen to not carry out this sentence and have some kind of a humanitarian appeal in mind when this kind of a sentence is being carried forward. There have been media reports by certain individuals who've been claiming that the death sentence has been withdrawn, which is completely wrong. That's what the Government of India is now stating. And of course, saying that they're trying to do whatever is possible legally and diplomatically to safeguard the life of Nimisha Priya. And as I said, not just with the Yemen government, but they're trying to impress upon several other governments in the Middle East to put pressure on the government in Yemen, impress upon them that the death sentence should not be taken forward and a humanitarian angle should be looked into.
Absolutely. When we talk about like-minded countries in the region, Aditya, we do need to understand that also a little bit more in detail. Do stay on with us. We've got a quick reaction of Randhir Jaiswal, and on the other side, questions waiting for you.
This is a sensitive matter, and the Government of India has been extending all possible assistance in this case. As a result of our concerted efforts, you've seen that the sentencing was deferred. It has been postponed. We continue to closely follow the matter and render all possible assistance. We are also in touch with some friendly governments on this particular issue.
Well, Aditya, when Randir Jaiswal says we're also in touch with some friendly nations, who exactly is he trying to, identify and, talk about here? And in the Supreme Court here back at home, the entire institution and organization that was looking after the release of Nimisha Priya had told the Supreme Court that the blood money has been arranged. And they also urged the Supreme Court to send the Indian Grand Mufti, the tall Sunni leader Abu Bakr Musliar, to hold his sort of consultations in Yemen as well. So what's working on what front, and how hopeful are we that Nimisha Priya's release is going to be, soon a reality? She's going to be pardoned.
Well, Kabir, what I can tell you is that the government of India is trying everything possible, diplomatically speaking. Of course, our diplomats are in touch with the government in Yemen. And when we speak about the friendly governments, you would know that in the last decade or so, many of the countries in the Middle East have come much, much closer strategically to India. We have Saudi Arabia and UAE on one side. On the other side, we also have Iran and Qatar, who have had significantly, good ties with India in the recent years. So it could be one or two countries amongst these that India has been in touch with continuously to secure, release or safeguarding the life of Nimisha Priya. So as of now, it's certainly not the end of the road. I would believe with the fresh statement from the government of India and the efforts that have been put in by New Delhi, there could be some significant positive development in the days to come. As of now, of course, the death sentence has been postponed, not withdrawn. And of course, India is trying to do whatever is possible to help the family in this case.
Well, all right. But at this point in time, Aditya, Indian government extending all sort of consular help to Nimisha Priya, but Talal Abdo Mahdi's brother has taken to Facebook a couple of times saying that the only way for justice is going to be her execution. How important it's going to be to reconcile with Talal Abdo Mahdi's family? Are we doing anything on that particular front? It's going to be very important to reconcile with that family.
Well, the government has limited options. India can do whatever is possible as per the legal domains and the legal options that are available within Yemen. And of course, diplomatically speaking, reach out to countries who can hold parallel, in negotiations with Yemen to safeguard the life of Nimisha Priya. So, as I said, it is not the end of the road, but certainly the blood money can be paid. Whatever else is required can be done. And some kind of an amicable solution can be found out. It has happened before. It's not that this is the first case, but there are also executions that have taken place in the past as well. In fact, one such execution of an Indian took place earlier this year. So we'll have to wait and watch how things really unfold. But as I can tell you that the government of India is putting in its best effort to not let the death sentence execution of Nimisha Priya really happen, to postpone it as much as possible and let hectic diplomatic activities that are taking place both in New Delhi and in Yemen and in the larger Middle Eastern region to really carry forward with some positive development. India has some really good ties with at least 6 to 7 countries in the Middle East, and at least with 1 or 2 countries, India is in touch on the Nimisha Priya case, and hopefully, there would be a solution that would be arrived at soon.
Either India's global heft is something that everybody knows at this point in time. You rightly pointed out our growing global heft in the West Asian region. But then Yemen, its ties with Iran, and on the global stage, the Axis power and who India has sided on as well over the last 2 years. Will all of this also play a huge role if this pardon is not been able to achieve? If things don't go Nimisha Priya's way, do you think this is going to geopolitically affect India's stance?
Usually in conflicts, India has had a very neutral position. When it came to the Israel-Iran war also, while India has a strategic partnership and defense and technological ties with Israel, India has a very robust mechanism of economic ties and strategic ties with Iran. We have the Chabahar port that we have been speaking about. We have a long-standing relationship with Iran when it comes to education. We have a very large population of Shias in India. Many Shia students actually go to Iran to study or even work. So, overall, there's a good, relationship with Iran, culturally and historically speaking as well. So I think that could also significantly play a role. I don't think there would be anything negative in this, but something positive might finally come if the negotiations and the diplomacy really works out, because these are very sensitive matters. These are tricky situations where national positions and emotions and egos play a significant role. In this case, of course, a life has been lost, and it's a very, very sensitive case where, we are almost at a dead end. But there is a glimmer of hope with Indian government, putting its best efforts diplomatically speaking and politically through different governments in place, and hopefully there will be a solution that would be arrived at. And of course, Iran and some other countries could play a significant role when it comes to the Nimisha Priya case.
For good sense to prevail, Aditya Rajkal, I'm going to ask you to stay on with us because there's another breaking development coming across from that press briefing by Ranveer Jaiswal. Now reacting to Donald Trump's latest tariff bomb, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that we remain focused on the substantive agenda that our two countries have committed to and are confident that the relationship will continue to move forward. According to top government sources now, US tariffs are unlikely to have any major adverse impact on the economy. The GDP loss expected to be less than 0.2%, and most Indian exports to the United States fall outside the tariff ambit. Some decline in exports may occur is what we're picking up, but India is going to prioritize its own interest above all. Aditya Rajkal continues to be with us on the broadcast here. Aditya, we were, hoping for some sort of, relief on the punitive measures front because this tariff arm twisting does happen to continue from Donald Trump. But it seems like our economy is quite robust. It is that glimmer of hope on the global map, and we're going to be able to sail through with much ease is what we're picking up.
Well, Indian government has taken a national position on this particular issue. You heard the Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal yesterday while speaking in the Parliament, making it very amply clear that while it upholds the principles of the India-US global strategic partnership, but on the other hand, it will not compromise on what is stated. Ranveer Jaiswal, the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, very much making it clear that India and US share a comprehensive global strategic partnership anchored in shared interests, democratic values, and robust people-to-people ties. And this partnership has weathered several transitions and challenges, and India remains focused on the substantive agenda that our two countries have committed to and are confident that the relationship will continue to move forward. We're also picking up that the U.S. tariffs are certainly not going to have a major adverse impact on the Indian economy. The overall impact on the GDP will be less than 0.2%. A major of the Indian exports to the U.S. will remain outside the scope of these tariffs, and it may see a slight decline in exports, but India is giving the highest priority to its national interest. That's what is picking up. Trump clearly not happy with the Indian negotiators who are really doing a tough bargain out there. The negotiations have been on for last several weeks, and India will firmly protect the interests of its farmers in the agriculture sector, the MSMEs, the entrepreneurs, the laborers, and the entire industry, really. So the Indian farmers will not be really allowed to suffer. That's what we are hearing from the Commerce Ministry and the Ministry of External Affairs. And India's response overall till now has been balanced and restrained. It has not been provocative, has not been very aggressively responsive to Trump's theatrics and the kind of statements that are coming in from the White House. But India is firmly on the path to becoming the $5.5 trillion economy in the next 3 to 4 years. That's been the target of the Modi government, and that's the focus area, really, as the talks on the bilateral trade agreement with the U.S. are moving perhaps in the right direction. As of now, there have been a lot of threatening kind of messages and tones coming in from the White House and U.S. President Donald Trump. But as of now, the negotiations are still underway, and India is certainly not relenting. India putting its
Aditya,
national
you've
priority
got Donald
at
Trump
top of
who's flexing back in America. Our own, and Indians are known for bargaining and heckling. We're flexing our muscles back here. Piyush Goyal also saying, and government sources telling us that the BTA agreement is going to continue. The talks are going to continue on that front. So do these tariffs now affect that particular, meeting and those delegation talks? And what happens to the Quad summit as well?
Well, certainly, as of now, the Quad Summit will continue somewhere between September and November. That's what we're picking up. It has seen considerable delay. Last year, India was going to host, and then now this year, India is going to host it sometime between September and November. U.S. President Donald Trump is supposed to visit India. That is, of course, the big talking point. But of course, the trade talks could have a significant impact on whether or not the Quad Summit will happen, on what time and agenda will the Quad really have. But the bilateral trade agreement is currently under talks, under negotiations. But the kind of tone and tenor that we've seen from White House and the State Department clearly indicates on what path we are walking. But India certainly is not going to relent. The mood in India seems to be very clear that we need to wait and watch. We need to not be aggressively responsive to the theatrics that we have seen. And this is the kind of method that Trump has adopted to be very aggressive, to make very strong posturing against even friendly countries. And India has dealt with that in the past. So as of now, India will wait very, very carefully on walking this tightrope. But it does seem that India is also very firm on its task and top priority of farmers, the MSME sector, the industry, the laborers, and the entire agriculture sector.